37 years. That's how long we've been waiting for BMW to make this car. So when BMW first launched the original E30 M3 back in 1986, enthusiasts have been dreaming of and begging BMW to make a wagon version, or a touring in BMW speak. But that never happened, even though BMW did tease the world with an E46 touring concept. But now, 6 M3 generations on, it has finally happened. We have a BMW M3 Touring. Today's episode is made possible by Sgcarmart Smartloan. Sgcarmart Smartloan is designed to save you time and money through a digitalized loan application via MyInfo for your used car purchase at below market interest rates. For a limited time only, get $500 cashback and a 6 months Kinto membership worth $1,200 when you apply for a loan today. To find out how much money you'll save when you buy a used personal or private hire car, click the link in the description below now. Back to review. The BMW M3 Touring is priced at $630,888. The 3-litre 6-cylinder turbocharged engine produces 503 brake horsepower and 650 Nm of torque. The 8-speed Steptronic transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 km power in 3.6 seconds. The BMW M3 Touring has a claimed fuel consumption figure of 9.6 km per litre. For more details on the BMW M3 Touring or any other car, head on to sgcarmart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. Now let's first talk design. So of course we have that front grille, you have your own opinions on it. I think it's fine, I guess I'm quite used to seeing it around now. Of course this also has plenty of sporty bits, so we have skirts here, carbon fiber here, all kinds of creases all over the body, and this looks like a proper M car. Now let's go check out the side silhouette. It's a wagon. Wagons are cool. Is it the prettiest wagon in the world? Maybe not. I think it's perhaps a little bit too long for my liking, but modern cars are all getting bigger and bigger, so it is what it is. Now let's move on to the business end of the car, which is of course the back end. This, I think, is the best looking part of the car. So from the wide wheel arches flowing all the way onto this really strong looking rear end, it just looks fantastic, right? Nice big quad tailpipes, nice diffuser. One cool thing about all BMW Tourings is that this rear window opens, and this just makes it very easy to access the boot. You don't have to open up the entire boot, just chuck stuff in. Also, in our line of work, this is actually kind of useful because it's really easy to do rolling shots out of the rear of this car. So I guess I should try to convince my management to buy us M3 Touring as a cam car. Now, in terms of actual boot space, we have 500 litres, which is plenty, right? So easily passes the anti-trolley length test and will fit a big luggage. And just for some context, an X3 has 550 litres of boot space, so this is really very similar. And yeah, it's obviously a wagon, so you can true load stuff. The seats 440, 2040, so it's very configurable space as well. Now let's go jump inside the car. Now here in the rear seats, it is a comfortable and fairly spacious space. So I have decent amount of leg room, good amount of headroom, and it feels just like the rear of an M3 because it functionally is. Now in terms of equipment, we have rear aircon vent, so we have temperature control, but we don't have fan speed control, and we also have 2 USB-C ports. And of course we have ISOFIX points here, we have some really nice M seat belts. Now if I try to slide it over to the middle, this is an all-wheel drive car, so there is a massive transmission tunnel here. No realistic way of putting your feet up, right? But I think there is enough space on either side, and the middle seat is not overly cramped or narrow, so could you fit 3 people here? I think you could. Is it the most comfortable space for 3 adults at the back? Perhaps not, but I don't think many people are too worried about that in an M3 Touring. Now let's go jump in the front and check out this slightly updated cockpit. Here in the front of the M3 Touring, you'll notice that it looks slightly different from the standard M3 sedan, and that's because this is actually comes together with the facelifted 3 Series. So the main difference, of course, is that you get this new curved display with operating system 8. My complaints with the system still remain. I think it's very complicated, it's very dense, there's a lot of menus, and if you need to go into a menu to change the fan speed, stuff like that. It does look pretty, but functionally, I think it's quite complicated, a bit too complicated for my liking. We also have this new, dashboard design. Again, it's
what you're going to find in most modern BMWs. I still prefer round dials, you know, crazy idea, right? Of course, here we do have the older M steering wheel, and what this effectively means is that you have the M1, M2 buttons, right? So these are, you can think of them as just shortcut buttons. So I guess now's a good time to jump into some of the M specific things. So we have setup, and there's quite a lot of stuff going on. You can change the engine feel, the chassis, the steering, the brake, and even the M xDrive. So you can four-wheel drive sport, and you can actually set it in two-wheel drive mode, so just rear-wheel drive. But to do that, you do need to turn off the traction control and the stability control, stuff like that. Should anyone be doing that on public roads? I'm not really brave enough to, but you know, you do you. So yes, you can then set up your M1, M2 configuration, whatever you like, and effectively you just hit the button and it will just hit it twice actually, and then it will just turn it on. So that's very convenient for when you quickly want to engage a much more sporty mode. There are of course also standard modes, so you have road, sport and track, so that's done with this M mode button. And there's of course also the loud setting for the exhaust. Would I turn it on? Honestly, not really, because the soundtrack is okay. It's a nice inline six sound, but it is a little bit artificially enhanced, and I think it's just a little bit boomy, so not really my thing. Beyond that, materials-wise, we have a very obviously M cabin, so lots of carbon fiber trimming everywhere, nice leathers everywhere, some nice detailing, so you can see like the M colors being stitched onto this gear knob and on the steering wheel, stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's a familiar enough cabin. Now, I do have one slight complaint about this car, and that's these seats, these M Sport seats. So if you look over here, you can see that with the way it's designed, there's this little gap, this little trench here on either side, and I must say when I'm sitting here, I can actually feel it, and to, I guess, not feel it, you do have to move the side bolsters quite tight in to really hug you, right? And is it deal-breaking? No, obviously not, but I'm just slightly annoyed by it. It's probably a me problem. I don't think most people will have any qualms about it. You could, of course, option the carbon bucket seats, the one with that little thing in the middle. You can check out the M3, M4 and see that. Ironically, I think those are slightly more comfortable. Now let's go drive this car on the road and see whether it feels right. This M3 Touring is offered in just one variant, so it's the competition variant with xDrive, right? So what that means is that up front you have a 3-litre inline six producing 503 brake horsepower and 650 Newton meters of torque being sent to all four wheels. And this car is honestly stupidly fast, right? Interestingly enough, it is actually quicker to 100 km/h compared to the sedan variant, so this takes just 3.6 seconds, and honestly, it feels every bit as quick. So I'm just now in the most soft, comfortable setting. If I just put my foot down, I mean, it's an engine that's very, very effective. Once it gets on boost, it just goes like hell, right? And this is, again, just the most comfortable setting. You can obviously put it in more sporty settings, and that intensity of pace just goes up. So yeah, it is very, very quick. It is definitely far more powerful than most people will ever really need it, 80-90% of the time. But you know, it's good to know that all that performance is there. And you know, it's an engine that is very torquey, even low down in the rev range. So if you're driving it fairly lightly like I am now, it's still plenty of power, right? I'm doing, let's say, 20% throttle and just let it get on boost and it just pulls. It just keeps pulling. And this car handles exactly the way it should. So it, you know, steering is nice and sharp and responsive. Body control is excellent. It feels rigid. It feels very, very composed when you're going around corners. And of course, there is tons and tons of grip. That's all-wheel drive for you. And also, you know, we have really fat, sticky tires, right? And I will say, comparing this to your standard M3 sedan, it really does not feel at all different, right? This car doesn't feel compromised in any way, even though some would say it should, right? Because, you know, the body style is a little bit different. It needed extra bracing because of the rear bulkhead, stuff like that. And yeah, you know, it feels like a proper M car, which might seem a very obvious thing to say, but I think that is one of the concerns, right, with using this particular body style, that, you know, it might feel compromised in any way. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit more weight at the back. But no, it doesn't feel that way at all. It just feels like an M3, right? it just drives really, really well, and it has all the dynamic capabilities that you could ever want out of your M3. More relevantly, this car actually feels a little bit more comfortable than the M3 sedan, and that's because mechanically this car isn't identical, right? There are bespoke components to the chassis. It's been tuned specifically for this car. It's obviously to deal with the extra weight, the extra stuff at the back, and also for the all-wheel drive system. But the consequent result is a more comfortable car. It's a car that's more easy to use daily. It's a lot more noticeably pliant over bumps in the road. It feels more comfortable, and I actually really like that about this car, right? It really feels like you could use it every day. Long drives will be super easy. There's a certain fluidity to the way the car feels on the road that, honestly, I think I much prefer it to the standard M3. So, the new BMW M3 Touring. Is it a will buy, won't buy, or go try? This is obviously, to me, a will buy. So we don't have to talk about price. This car is getting close to $630,000, which is, frankly, a pretty face-melting number, right? That's a lot of money, but this new generation of M cars are just significantly more expensive than before. However, all that said, I still think this is a very, very desirable car, right? So I think that is partly due to the fact that it is a fast wagon, and fast wagons are just cool. That's just a fact. But I do think it is also because people have been waiting for this car for so long, right? 38 years wanting this particular model, and I definitely think that plays into the experience. There's a certain anticipation, a certain excitement about this car finally existing, and I think that makes it special. It's different, and it's just not another bloody SUV. The current G80 M3 is a very, very good sports sedan. So it's fast, it's dynamic, it's exciting, and it's actually more refined and usable compared to before. And this Touring is just better, right? It's more comfortable, more usable, more practical, but still just as fast, just as dynamic, just as exciting. And I just think it's a little bit cooler as well. Is this the best M car? I don't know. I personally really adore the original M2 Com, but I will say that I think this is the most well-rounded M car that you can and perhaps should buy today, right? This car does everything. It is as dynamically capable as an M3, yet as sensibly practical as a 320d Touring. This really is an everything, everywhere, everyday car, and I think it is outstanding. I guess the real question we have to ask is, why did it take BMW so long to make this car? So I don't know for sure, but I wonder if it's because, moving forward, the automotive world, and M cars included, are going increasingly electric, hybridized, stuff like that, right? And perhaps this might be the last chance for BMW to make the car like this, right? A big engine, full-fat M wagon. And if that really is the case, you could argue that this is perhaps the first and last of its kind, and that makes it really special. And I think this has a chance to go down in history as an all-time great. Thanks for watching our review of the new BMW M3 Touring. What do you think about this car? Let us know in the comment section below. Do of course also like, share and subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you will be alerted of all our upcoming videos. And of course you can find us on TikTok at Sgcarmart. So that's all I have for you today. I'll see you soon. Bye! This M car, I don't... Did you say something? BMW M3 Touring. Ouch.